Hello, and welcome to a digital book talk from Massanutten Regional Library. Today's book talk is intended for our young adult readers, and thus all of the books have come from our young adult teen collection. The thing they all have in common is their setting. They are all set in the state of Maine. Why? Because I have this thing about looking for challenges, and I found a new reading challenge this year that talked about reading across the United States. And in that challenge, they started with some of the New England states. So I picked one of those New England states and said, Maine, let's start there. Let's see what we have. And thus, here we are. And so our first book is Orbiting Jupiter by Gary D. Schmidt. In this book, we have Jackson Hurd and his family. They are taking in a new foster child named Joseph Brooks. Jack is 12, Joseph is 14. Joseph looks like an average eighth grader at Eastham Middle School, but he's not. He's not an average eighth grader. He became a father when he was just 13. He took some pills that he shouldn't have, and then subsequently tried to kill a teacher. He spent time in juvie, where he's been savagely beaten and abused, and he has an abusive father. He arrives at the Hurd family farm nearly mute. His social worker warns them that because of what he's been through in detention and at home, he doesn't like the color orange, he doesn't like to be touched, and he doesn't like to be approached from behind. Living with Jack's family on their Maine farm could mean a normal life for Jackson. But he is obsessed. He is obsessed with finding Jupiter. Jupiter is the daughter that he has never been allowed to see. And she is also in foster care at this point. Joseph finds love with Jack's family and support from some teachers at the school. But of course, not everybody supports him. There is the teacher who warns Jack of how Joseph's bad influence will affect him. And other students call Joseph a psycho. This story is a powerful one about second chances in life. And, you learn that not everyone gets those second chances, no matter how much they might deserve them or need them. I will totally admit that I was in tears at the end of the book, and I just found their lives to be very moving. Orbiting Jupiter by Gary D. Schmidt. Our second book today is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. When institutions you trust fail you, what will you do? And how will you handle the consequences? A year and a half earlier, the talks spread through Raxter Island off the coast of Maine, corrupting its inhabitants, the flora and the fauna alike. At the Raxter School for Girls, the talks continues to mutate the students in cyclical flare-ups and has killed all of the teachers except 2. The talks affects everyone differently. For Hetty, her right eye has sealed itself shut. For her best friend Byatt, she grew a second exterior spine. And Reese? Reese has a sharp silver-scaled left hand and glowing hair. Not everyone adapts to the tox's cyclical flare-ups. A girl who is brought to the infirmary rarely returns. And now the remaining girls survive on meager rations, adapt to alarming physical changes, and wait in radio silence for a promised cure. And then Hetty is selected for boat shift. The only chance to venture beyond the school's fences, and she is exposed to secrets that tug at the seams of her understanding. And after her friend Byatt disappears, Hetty sets in motion a series of events that will rend Raxter's careful framework from its bones. Wilder Girls by Rory Power. Our third book today is Silo by D.J. MacHale, and this is the first book in a series called The Silo Chronicles. On Pemberwick Island, off the coast of Maine, Tucker Pierce, age 14, is vaulted onto his high school football team's starting lineup. This should be great, right? But he gets on to the starting lineup because a star player falls dead at the end of a game. So to clear his head, Tucker and his friend Quinn take a late-night bike ride on the road that runs around the island's perimeter, only to encounter a shadowy flying object that emits strange music and then explodes over the water. Within a few days, a stranger to the island offers Tucker a supplement called the Ruby, and that makes him feel superhuman. When a military force wearing red camo uniforms with a patch bearing the word Silo, S-Y-L-O, takes control of the island, and then the president announces a quarantine until the CDC can identify and neutralize the Pemberwick virus. It quickly becomes apparent that Silo forces will stop at nothing to see that everyone stays put. But then Tucker witnesses several cold-blooded killings, and he and his friends are determined to escape to the mainland. Can they get past the naval blockade? Can they survive the skyborne attack on the blockade? Who can they trust? And who or what is Silo? Who's really fighting whom? You'll have to read the series to find out. Silo by D.J. MacHale. So today we've taken a look at 3 books from the young adult section that are all set in the state of Maine. We have Orbiting Jupiter by Gary D. Schmidt, Wilder Girls by Rory Power, and Silo by D.J. MacHale. Besides being set in the state of Maine, we have authority figures who fail our characters. We have odd viruses on islands where our kids seem to be detained, sometimes with adults like there's only 2 adults there, or with adults over here. I hope that you find something enjoyable to read today, whether it is one of these 3 books or something else. But whatever it is, I wish you happy reading.